gave them some cash when I got to the aeroplane. The drug squad wanted to take all the polystyrene bubbles out of my fuselage, and I pleaded with them, and they made phone calls to head office, and I told them to read my website to see that I wasn't really the sort of person that was involved with drugs. Okay. And they did not take out the polystyrene bubbles, what the Americans call peanuts.
Why were they in there?
They were there in case the engine stopped over the sea.
Okay.
I then left Puerto Plata, and about an hour later, 80 miles south of, how do you pronounce this place?
Providenciales.
Providenciales. The engine stopped.
Yes.
Already Miami radio was saying, "Who are you? We don't know who you are." I said, "But I filed a flight plan." And I said, "But I filed a flight plan." I said, "I've got a transponder knocking out 7,000. And of course they wouldn't admit to anything, you know, they wanted my name, address, my home phone number in Wales, where I live, in England, in Great Britain, and United Kingdom. And a minute later the engine stopped. I quickly changed tanks. I have very big tanks in the wings. I have the world record because I flew around New Zealand, and I flew from Norfolk Island to Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and that was 900 miles. I flew 900, which is a world record for a J3 Piper Cup.
Oh.
And I keep saying this to the Americans. They're known for not liking the water. They're not getting their feet wet. So I know that if somebody has done that, they've done it over Arkansas to Miami or something, not over water.
Okay.
So at least I've got that record. Liberty Girl and I have got that record. So I've got big tanks. So which is also to keep her floating. And the engine stopped, and I shouted out, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday, Kirk, Golf Kilo India, Romeo Kilo, Golf Kilo India," 3 times.
Yes.
And the chap didn't believe me. He said, "You mean you've got trouble?" I said, "I have just raised Mayday." I said, "Imminent ditching." And he said, "You mean you're not going to make it?" And I said, "I'm changing frequency." I said, "It's a distress call." And he gave me a distress frequency to change to, and I didn't have time. I opened the doors. What you do is you open the door and you jam it. You jam it with something. And I was frantically, and around behind me, I had not put this, my strobe. Now, that battery's been in it for 2 years.
Okay.
And I meant to put a new battery in. Now, that one works.
Yes.
And that goes on there. And I grabbed it and put it in my shirt. And I had my satellite GPS EPIRB, which is the best in the business. And I bought this 2 years ago in New Zealand when I went to see Sir Edmund Hillary, because I was a climbing instructor, and he invited me for tea.
Okay.
And he sadly only died a month ago.
Oh.
And he was my schoolboy hero. And the same day I bought this, and all you do is pull it out and you pull the string. And it was picked up because the flight plan, I'm very annoyed about this.
Yes.
6 times now around the world, you file a flight plan when you go between countries.
Yes.
And they're supposed to fax the information to the next country.
Yes.
So that if the next country, if you don't turn up,
they will know.
they start
a
search system. And they wait usually 12 hours or something, and they come look for you.
Yes.
Air traffic at 6 o'clock this morning. I was down there this morning.
In Provo?
Yes, trying to hire a boat. I've now got a boat for 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, 4:30 tomorrow morning. We're going out looking for Liberty Girl. By the way, she's lost any value. This is sentimental. The Americans, when they hear that General Patton's aircraft is still floating out there, I'm hoping that somebody will help me from the Bahamas.
Okay.
To find her and ship her back to Florida, where she's got to be rebuilt again.
Oh.
This U.S. search and rescue picked this up at Tampa, a place called Lakeland, Clearwater, which is the military air base.
Yes.
They radioed the U.S. base here. How do you pronounce the island next?
Providenciales?
No, the one to the west.
In
the last of the Bahamas.
Inagua.
Inagua, they sent out the helicopter, and I was under the hood.
Yep.
I was only in the water for 2 hours. I'm 62 and I'm feeling it.
Oh.
I was freezing, and I only had enough strength to turn the vessel upside the right way to show the orange.
Yes.
And I got in it, and it was full of water, because I tied it to Liberty Girl to help it keep Liberty Girl afloat.
The life raft?
Yes, and the polystyrene bubbles are in the, and it's now like a
Below.
fisherman's float. The tail is just out of the water,
Uh-huh.
and I'm hoping she's still floating. And because I had it tied, normally you cut away, and I had my knife on my belt, and I had to, when I hit the water, I went under the water. The boat went down and stayed down, the engine, and I was under the water, and I had to get out, and I was all tangled up, and I had to cut with my knife to get out. And I thought, no, I'm not going without my hat. Now, I had this on my head because I had a headset on.
Okay.
So the headset and me was still there, but I had to save my famous hunting hat. I'm afraid I've had a childhood of hunting, killing foxes on a horse with hounds.
Oh.
And this is my old hunting hat, and it's been with me all around. And I give talks. I go and give talks in schools, and I am known. I'm known for the old hunting hat.
Oh.
And I came above the surface with my top hat. And above me was the tail. And on my website, on the homepage, on the very front, there's a video, which I did in New Zealand 2 years ago, where I said, and I got radar strips on the tail so that they'll pick it up, and I will climb up the tail, and I'll take off my boots, and I'll beat the sharks off with my boots.
Oh.
And there it was happening. It was all real.
Wow.
And
you
I was getting
planned for it?
colder and colder and colder. And my brain was stupid. Now, I used to teach survival. I was a climbing instructor. And I taught survival and all about keeping your inner core. And, you know, you wrap yourself up, you tie a piece of rope around you. And, of course, I thought, damn it, I haven't even blown the thing. I blew it, and it never worked.
Your life vest?
Yes. I then blew, and the piece of tubing came away. It was an old, you know, my
old
main
was
one
it?
I'd left behind in England by mistake in the rush. My main one I'd left behind, and I picked up a spare one, which was an old Airways. I won't mention the Airways.
Okay.
Because it was an out-of-date, I expect it was an out-of-date one. I really don't know. But because I was going to tie myself to the airplane, and I had a dinghy, well, I pulled the dinghy, and she opened up, but she leaked. So I kept having to pump it.